So do you want to just start with like sort of like your name, what the film club is, and like what you do at the club?
Sure. So, my name is Samantha Castro. I'm the founder and president of Newcastle Film Club. Newcastle Film Club is a community filmmaking group based in Newcastle. Our aims are to lower the barrier of entry into film, TV, and media by providing free workshops, challenges, networking events, and ways for people to just engage in this medium that we all love to help tell their own stories. So yeah, that's kind of who we are and what we do.
Well, you hit on it there, like briefly about your aims. One of the questions I was going to ask is like, what's the overall like goal? What's the end goal? Like is it fun? Is it skill development? Is it profit? Growth? Anything like that?
Yeah, great question. So it really is just having and building a community of people that are interested in filmmaking and developing their own personal skills at it, and also telling the stories that they want to tell. Because not there's a lot of red tape and a lot of like, oh, your story has to be this or that or whatever. We just want to encourage creativity in whatever form that takes you. So like our club as like a whole is all about just getting you the tools, the knowledge, and the skills needed to just go out and make the stuff you want to go make. The giving you the equipment, giving you the crew, giving you the resources throughout all of production, just to help do that and streamline that, and also giving you the inspiration and motivation of like, you don't need all this big fancy equipment to go make stuff. You can literally just go make stuff with a phone. Like we did a challenge where you just everybody make a film using your mobile phone and only your phone. So yeah, like we try to make things as approachable as possible to just get people to create stuff, because when you create stuff, the more you create stuff, the better you're gonna be, and the more you're gonna develop your skills, um, whether that be technology, collaboration, communication, like all that stuff gets elevated when you're just making things together with people or even on your own. So yeah, that's kind of like what we're all about in terms of like where we're going as an organization, where we want to go as an organization. We just want to keep providing this access and this opportunities to as many people in our local community as possible, for as long as possible. So we were currently in the middle of a crowdfunding campaign on Space Hive. That's we're about £1,500, so £1,500 needed left to finish that campaign, and that's going to provide industry standard kit for the film club to use, as well as the knowledge on how to actually use that kit. So again, we're kind of upskilling. We're teaching them this is equipment that's used in the field with professionals, whether or not you want to just use it for your own projects, or if you want to learn how to use it so you can go on and get jobs. That's great. We're not an organization that pushes like, if you're part of this club, you're in media and film or anything like that. We really are just like, oh, you just want to make something, we're the club for you. Whether you are a working professional in the industry or if you're just a hobbyist, we're like the club that you kind of want to, that we at least think that you want to get involved in, because we cater to all ages, backgrounds, ethnicities, everything. We just like try to be as open as possible to anybody who's just interested and wants to come along.
Well, um, I suppose to like follow up on like that like last part. Um, I was I've done one of my other projects on Hexham Forum Cinema,
Mm.
and their big focus is accessibility. So they've got like dementia screenings, uh, hard of hearing headsets,
Mm-hmm.
uh, baby and child screenings, all those sort of things. What I was going to say is so like almost a two pronged question.
Mm-hmm.
Like one, how is the film club and filmmaking in the region with providing accessibility to additional needs people to get into filmmaking, and then also how are like festivals with dealing with accessibility, are they pretty accessible to um, different groups of people?
I'll answer the second part of that question first. Although I don't we don't have a film festival that we do at Newcastle Film Club, and I'm only going off the experiences that I've seen of local film festivals. I think film festivals in the region are very approachable. Take, for example, Sunderland Shorts. They had a pay what you can, pay what you feel type of model for their recent festival, and I think they've done that now for about 3 or 4 years, which is really great because that helps people who might be interested in film or seeing a whole gambit of interesting films kind of like be able to afford that, because we are in the cost of living crisis. So like having those types of options automatically makes it a little bit more accessible for people. In terms of other festivals, I know Women X Festival, they ask you to submit a film that has like subtitles, which is really great for people who are hard of hearing, be able to enjoy the films at the festival as well. So I know that that's something that they do accessibility wise. I think going to your first point of your question, accessibility and how that is with getting people who have accessibility needs into filmmaking, I think we could be doing better as a region. I attended a workshop put on by Beacon Films, which is another great organization based here in Newcastle, helping neurodiverse and people with learning disabilities in this industry. They got a working group together and they provided like recommendations from a group of people who have disabilities and have access requirements, and they then shared their knowledge and their recommendations to other organizations who are in the same kind of region, or like remit of like media, film screenings, that kind of stuff. And that was really powerful to like have them, who this is impacting like their accessibility of, making sure networking is accessible, having larger badges, having easy reads for like different instructions, just like being able to tell people ahead of time who's going to be there and what they can expect a little bit more in detail for people who are like maybe nervous and have anxiety when it comes to like going out and stuff like that. So that was really powerful to hear it from the group of people who have been impacted by the lack of accessibility in the region. And we're looking to, like from that meeting, we're looking to bring in and have brought in actually some of the things that were suggested into like our film club meetings. But yeah, I think as a whole, we could be doing better with accessibility, and I think it's at the forefront of like a lot of people's minds, more so now than I think what has been previously. But does that answer that question?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Cool.
Well, I know obviously with the festival they had the pay what you can thing, like you
Yeah.
says, and then with Hexham Foreign Cinema, even the manager there that I spoke to, she was like, I don't know how the rest of the region is doing, because I think her answer was kind of just like, we have enough going on here that I need to focus on.
Mm.
Although she said she audited every cinema that was part of the Tyne Valley Film Festival to check if they had like steps, like how
Yeah.
many steps, so that they could put them on the program and things like that.
Nice.
Um,
That's good.
so then I wanted to ask with the island
Mhm.
and Nails, because now is Nails out already, or is it just being premiered? And
Yeah, so Nails is currently doing its festival run. It did its worldwide premiere at Sunderland Shorts on Sunday, May 12th. So it's been screened once to the public, but now it starts a year-long festival run where we're going to be putting it into multiple festivals, not only locally here, but also internationally as well, and just try to get as many eyeballs onto the film, collect as many laurels, and just showcase the incredibly hard work that people have done for that film as far and wide as we can go before we release it online, for everybody else to enjoy.
yeah, so I think the main question I had about them was how, like, how was it as a film club to go from something like the island that is one location, essentially one actor,
Mm-hmm.
no dialogue or very minimal dialogue, to something like Nails that is quite expansive, has different styles,
Mm-hmm.
has multiple characters, multiple actors, multiple locations, a lot more editing seemingly involved. How is it as a club to go from this very, very small project to a very expansive project, particularly as a group who aren't industry professionals?
Mm-hmm.
How difficult was that, especially when you factor in, budgeting and things like that?
Nails was a complete step up, and it was absolutely like more logistically challenging, creatively challenging, and just all around just a completely like new beast of a project, which is exciting, but it was also a lot of work. So yeah, how that kind of happened, and what I say for anybody looking to step up their, to from one thing to another is just like creating a team around you of people who are just as excited and just as wanting to make it as successful as possible, like bringing them on. And thankfully, as a film club, like everybody was really excited about Nails and the prospect of it. And we had an amazing script, written by Amy Maines, who pitched it, but also co-written by Ian Mayer, who works in the gaming industry. He's worked on like AAA games and writing for AAA games. So it's like it's really fun, like to have such a script that plays around with so many different genres and different styles. But we had also a really strong director of Alex Challies who was able to then translate that from the script into what he wanted with the DOP. So like it's really just getting the people behind you to help grow as you grow. So Andy and Alex were two instrumental people to help just put Nails together. Andy had, he'd been in the industry, like he was from Newcastle originally, from the Northeast, and he moved down to Manchester because, as with many people do, there just wasn't the work in the industry in the Northeast, and so he had to move away. But when he saw what was happening with the film club, when he was like saw the, like what we were doing, he wanted to get involved. He wanted to give back to the community up here and share his knowledge and expertise that he's been gaining in the industry for the past 10 years to people who are interested, want to learn more. So he was instrumental as well of just making everything come together, sharing and learning and stuff like that. So, and it was a big step in terms of logistics as well, because yeah, as you said, we went from basically a cast of one to a cast of, I think it ended up being over 15, in all honesty. So we got four main casts. We've got our Kolstad, and he's got like four goons, and then we've got all the background fighters and actors and stuff like that. So it was a lot. It was a lot to logistically pull off and do, especially as everybody's as well all volunteers. And so that's just, it's a communications game at that point. It's making sure everybody knows when our meetings are and when they need to be on set, and just making sure the energy and keeping people involved in every step of the way is how it's done. And it's largely driven by the Newcastle Film Club leadership team, because it's our project at the end of the day. Like we're the people that have volunteered to be in these leadership positions and kind of move everybody and get everybody in, like, excited about projects and stuff like that. So yeah, it takes a whole village to make a film at the end of the day, and that's how we ended up to do it. It was just getting all that stuff. So yeah, lots of stuff was learned, lots of stuff that, for our next pitch day we're going to do a bit differently, which is exciting. But it's all just like iterating on itself and just like learning from past things to make the next stuff better and more sustainable for future projects.
So would you define it as it is community filmmaking? As like, if you didn't have that willingness to just work for free and to just learn,
Yeah,
you wouldn't be able to do that.
absolutely. It is 100% community filmmaking, because at the end of the day, it's not someone saying, you're going to make this film, we're going to get a lot of profit out of it, and then you're going to see the pennies of it. Or no, it's like, we're making this film together because we think that it's a cool film to make and we want to see it out into the world. And if someone's not excited about it, then they just don't join the project, and then we say thank you, that's fine, absolutely, like everything's not for everybody. But we do try to respect and give everybody as much notice and advance, and just, again, it comes down to communication at the end of the day, because we realize they're in a volunteer position, so making sure they're well fed on sets, making sure they have food, making sure they're well hydrated, making sure that they can take any breaks if they need to. We're not as like stringent when it comes to being on set as what if you were getting paid in that specific role, because everybody's learning. And I think that also helps people just be like, right, I can ask questions, I can make mistakes, I can, because we're all learning, we're all here to just improve our skills. So yeah, it's 100% community filmmaking. It wouldn't happen without the community, basically.
Um, so then, like, because it is, I don't know the specific like budget numbers,
Mhm.
but because it is like what Nails was done on such a small budget was so impressive.
Mhm.
If the film club did have a bigger budget, so something like what a BFI short has, what would what do you think that would look like from the club? Like what would come out of that?
To be honest, I don't know, because the club is, they have a mind of their own sometimes, and it's absolutely incredible. If we can do that on a budget less than 2,500, and if BFI is 20,000 and above, for one, I'd be able to pay everybody for their time and experience on set, and that would be an amazing feeling. But then also just to be able to have more resources, like have access to different, but I'd say different locations. Like we're able to like use and be creative with what we have. I feel like that's a thing about filmmakers here, is that we just get the job done, and we do the best with what we have. But if we're able to access, you know, more things, yeah, I think it would be better overall. But I don't know. It all just, it comes down to the people, the story at the end of the day. So yeah, I think we'd make it work, and we make it look really nice.
So then to to finish with, I suppose the region
Hmm.
like at large, like the northeast at large with filmmaking. How do you think how do you think filmmaking was in the region sort of like say 10, 20 years versus how it is like now? Do you think it's better, worse, the
That's a,
same?
it's a great question. I unfortunately can only speak to about 5 years back, because that's when I first came over to Newcastle. Because before then I was living over in America. So I can only speak on, what I've seen in the past 5 years as a region, and we're growing, which is exciting. Um, I think opportunities at large have become more available to people, both within scripted and non-scripted, so your factuals, your documentaries, and stuff like that. We've seen a lot more production companies. I say a lot more, probably about three or four, uh, at least five production companies really kind of come up through the ranks. In the past 5 years, I would say here in the Northeast, you got 2603, you've got Wonder Films, you've got Hat Trick, not Hat Trick, um, uh, other companies like spring up that are like starting to get into this space of content creation for TV, film, and stuff like that. And so I think the opportunities of film in the region are growing and have been growing. And I'm excited to see, with the announcement of Sunderland Studios going through, like how that's also going to impact what comes up and what are the opportunities that are here. Um, Hopefully that means more people are moving back to the region, because as like with Andy's example, they moved away, but hopefully now they can come back, and we can get some really skilled, talented individuals to help nurture and teach the next generation of filmmakers. So yeah, does that answer the question?
Yeah, yeah, I would say so. What would you say is the region's biggest obstacles in terms of making filmmaking even bigger? So, maybe on the size of a Manchester, if that's where it wanted to get to, and then possibly a London beyond that.
I would say probably facilities and crew are the limiting factors at the moment, because we have great outdoor locations, great locations like with heritage sites, with cathedrals and all this kind of stuff. But I think in terms of like filming facilities, like studios, like what Manchester, what's down in London, that kind of stuff, we don't have yet. So once we get those, I think that will help lower that. I think, and then as well, because crews gone to where the work was. A lot of our talented crew that we have graduating from universities and stuff like that, they've all gone away, so they need to come back in order for productions to be like, oh, we know there's crew up there, so we're then going to bring our productions up there because we know the caliber of crew as well is really good up there as well. So yeah, because then they're not using people from Manchester, people from London, people from wherever. They're using regional crew for their productions, which helps the economy and helps, give opportunities and all that kind of stuff. So I think those are the two limiting things, and we need to build those up in the region for us to really have a greater impact. Um, yeah, and then just giving more opportunities just in general for people to get paid and make a career in it. So commissioners just need to commission more stuff up here.
Yeah, because I think you can tell through um, events like the Sunderland Shorts Festival.
Mm-hmm.
You can tell that the talent is there. So
Mm-hmm.
then, do you think it is just an issue of access to the industry that is blocking that talent from like sort of going to the next level?
Yeah, I think to a point, yes, I think it is a little bit. I think um some things can be a little more gatekept than others in terms of like, okay, you don't have a degree or you didn't do this. It's a little bit more riskier for people like BFI or just people who are looking to fund filmmakers to take that step so they can step up in their career or get an opportunity that is a little bit more paid. Um, yeah, this is an industry all about who you know, unfortunately. And so and that's another thing of just like, okay, well, if people don't like to go out and network, how are they going to be able to get an opportunity within this industry? And that's where I think as a film club we do really well, because we're very much a grassroots organization. We will accept anybody who comes through our doors, pending that they're not a jerk to to others. And it's a very mutual. If you give to other people in the organization, they're going to give back to you and help you with your projects. And it's like that camaraderie, it's that collaboration. It's our tagline: collaborate, create, repeat. So it's we really try to like work that into the ethos. So people who are bad at networking can jump onto a project. You can see how they are, you can get to know them better in something that's low pressure and just for fun. And then if they say, oh, actually I want to do this as a career, then that's us as like a leadership. We're gonna be like, all right, have you done this, have you done this, and like we can introduce you to this person. And so because we do have members who are working in the industry, and we do have members, we partner with production companies, so we know what's going on. So it's like, okay, great, you want to do sound, I know this company that's looking for a sound trainee, can I put you in touch there? And it's just a lot of signposting on that end of things. But again, it all comes from the grassroots level. Like we're all just here just to encourage people to make stuff, and where they take that is kind of up to them in terms of it. But it's like sky's the limit. You can start with us and then grow from there, or start with us and stick around just because it's fun.
Um, and then I would say is the final question probably, um, is the film club where you want it to be in terms of size and then also like impact in the region, or do you think it could be even bigger?
I would love to see Newcastle Film Club become a recognized, noted, and like name within the region of like, oh yeah, I've heard about them. I've seen the work that they do. Anything that you can do with them is going to be a good stepping stone, whether that be in a creative capacity, in a friendship capacity, in a career capacity. I kind of do want Newcastle Film Club to become a household name. Um, and yeah, and just be recognized as like, this is a great community group for you to get involved in if this is something you want to do. um in terms of, are we at a good size? Yeah, I think we're at a really good size. I'm not surprised because I do take a lot of pride and I do put a lot of passion into this organization. I'm not surprised that people come back week after week, but it is really nice that people just keep coming back week after week to come and be part of the meetings and what we do here. I think that's a testament to what we are as an organization, what our leadership has been doing over the past 2 years to grow it. And yeah, I think we can only continue to kind of go up, reach new heights, and make a bigger impact. But I think we're doing it at a rate that's sustainable. If we do it any faster, we might burn out a little bit. But I think we're going at a really good pace. I'm happy with the pace that we're going at. Um, because yeah, if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. And I think that's kind of like it's what I tell my leadership team a lot. And I feel like that's just kind of like where we're at as an organization. So, yeah.
So would you want to turn it into like a professional studio that's based in Newcastle, or are you firmly like this is a community side project thing?
I would love to have us have our own building. I would love to be a resource for people to be like, I don't know where to even start with media. I don't like it. That kind of can work alongside all of the other amazing things that are available here in Newcastle. So we have two amazing universities, which people can have access to and go to. But not everybody wants to go to university. Not everybody wants to go to college. Like, so I feel like where we're going to end up sitting is something that, and you should look into this, something called the Unit down in Bradford has a very similar kind of model to where I'd like to take us, to where they have a building, people can come in, they can have space there to do their projects, they have resources, they have equipment, they have it's just like a hub. It's a hub of creativity that people can pop into when they want, and just know that we're there for them. And that's kind of who that would be my dream for like probably 3 or 4 years time from now. So that's what I'm kind of working towards.